Thank you, Nashville, so much. I want to take a minute to thank 8-Ball for letting us use their sweet, awesome gear. I want to thank the Rock and Roll Residency, in particular, my main man, Phil Schaus, who played guitar on 2 tracks on one of our CDs. And of course, a big thank you to Chris and Aaron and everyone who put together this wonderful event. Please give them a round of applause because they deserve it. And none of us would be here without the founding father of podcasting. He is both Benjamin Franklin and George Washington, but with a larger penis than both men. Mr. Ken Mills, ladies and gentlemen, the podfather himself. We've got time for one more. It's a fan favorite. To my knowledge, this is the only song that I've written where someone tattooed the lyrics onto their arm. It's a little bit of a thrashy song. It's called The Flash.
Hi, I'm Greg. I'm the lead singer for Lipsick Generation.
And I'm Steve. I'm the bassist.
And welcome to the Lipsick panel. Today on the Lipsick panel, we are doing a Rock N Pod recap episode because you haven't listened to 50 of those by now, right?
Today in a very special episode.
Do you like what we were talking about off mic beforehand?
Yeah,
no comment.
Let's pivot right fast because we've already did our live listening to a Kiss adjacent album recording earlier this week where we got into those topics. So let's
but that's in the future.
That's in the future to you.
Even though it's in the past for us, it's in the future
listener.
for you.
I figured probably. That's why I didn't include any spoilers about what Kiss adjacent project we listened to that caused us to talk about, like, I don't know, probably murdering babies. I fugued out a little.
I think that's just every thing. Every time we're forced to listen to like a Kiss adjacent album for an extended period, even if it's good, we'd probably just eventually get there. Just Kiss and genocide. Just like for some reason, it's just I don't know, maybe it's the fascist logo, those double S's that just make you think of the worst in humanity, and just you take that leap.
You wanted the best, you got the best.
Yeah, and I feel that's in poor taste, given that Gene's mom was a Holocaust survivor. So
yes, it is.
Yeah. So speaking of things, let's transition. Hey, Rock N Pod.
Hey, Rock N Pod.
We're a band that played Rock N Pod. Hi guys, how you doing? So yeah, this
are they supposed to answer? Or
we'll
Dora the Explorer this. How are you doing?
Yeah, play along at home. How are you?
Great.
Where's the watch?
On my wrist. That's where I keep
on
my watches.
His wrist. You found it.
Oh, okay.
Great job.
I hear Dora the Explorer and the City of Gold is actually, the novelization is pretty great.
I've heard the movie has lots of poop jokes.
Oh, excellent. The novelization, I've read a couple passages, has a lot of meta jokes wherein, Dora will say something and then just turn off and stare into the distance and the narrator will be confused. Or the various animals will have a conversation with each other, and the narrator will chime in to mention that, by the way, these animals don't speak English, so none of the humans know what's going on. Also, they're different species, so they don't know what's going on either. Because, again, monkeys can't talk.
So anyway, Rock N Pod. We played Rock N Pod. This is our recap. So for those who are new to the show, hi, we're Greg and Steve. We host a weekly podcast, and we played Rock N Pod, and it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
So should we talk about what our lead up to Rock N Pod was? Because this was our first show with the new name, with the new image, Lipsick Generation.
Yeah.
So how did you feel about wearing leather jackets and stuff on stage?
Hot.
Yeah, it was quite warm.
It was very warm, but I also look hot in the photos.
Yeah, you look pretty good. How's your girlfriend feel about those photos?
She liked those photos.
Does she like them better than your Charmander outfit?
I don't know. She also liked a video of us playing of Nuclear Bubble Wrap playing Springwater yesterday, where I was dressed as a chicken. So
I think she just supports you. That's love.
Aww.
Find a girl that supports you when you're playing dressed as a chicken.
I mean, it's a goofy thing to say, but I think it's right.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, for our listeners that didn't go to Rock N Pod is sort of like, what if you took those nerdy anime conventions but made it about hair metal instead?
And podcasting. Hair metal and podcasting.
Right, and hair metal podcasting, which is, why we were a perfect fit for this event.
Right.
So it was a 2-day event. The first day was the pre-party where 3 bands played. Lipsick Generation opened up, then 8 Ball played, followed by the Rock and Roll Residency. Then the second day, you had a whole bunch of like podcasters doing interviews live with special guests like Dave Ellefson from Megadeth and Michael Sweet from Stryper. So the special guests got herded from podcast to podcast to talk about things. And then in the evening, there was another performance by 8 Ball. They brought the gear, so that's why they get to play twice.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, look, their gear was really nice. And
it was very nice gear.
They were very courteous to, allow us to use their equipment. They were very polite gentlemen. And then there was a Dave Ellefson Megadeth, set, like a jam where he was like the main guy closing out the festivities. So, yeah, there was a lot of stuff. So I guess we'll just start at the beginning. The first thing we did was just our set. How'd you feel about the show, man?
I thought it was pretty good. It was good to be back on stage doing the Lipstick music again, just because like that level of energy and everybody in the band having that level of energy is very fun. In a number of other bands, I'm the only one who's willing to run around stage, and I feel lonely up there. So it's good to have Greg with me.
Oh, thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. I mean, yeah, it's sort of interesting that we've been sort of living in the studio for the past like year and a half, basically. Haven't really been playing out much as we've been figuring out the rebranding and the sound and what we were doing image wise, and like rising up from the ashes like a phoenix, as it were. And then just like so many people, like I had so many of the podcasters who were familiar with our music say, "You guys are so much better live." And it's like, yeah, I know. Just like, why don't you guys play out more? You guys are like Kiss. You're good in the studio, but you're just so much better live. Yeah, that's especially in this market, kind of annoying. Like, hey, the internet, spread your music to as many people as possible. By the way, you're better live. Like, well, shit.
Right.
Like, that's the worst thing for the 2019 market. Good for the 2019 market for making money once you're established, but bad for the 2019 market where you're just like, hey guys, check out our band. I was compared to Bruce Dickinson by someone, and I was like, well, you're wrong, but thank you. And I was also compared to Dave Lee Roth by someone who's like, yeah, that's closer.
You were compared to Dave Lee Roth, and you were like, yeah, you're still wrong, but a boy can dream. A boy can dream.
Well, I think, listening back to the performances, I think I've stepped up my game as a vocalist. I don't know what it is. Perhaps it's just I've been practicing more, or just, the years of experience, or maybe just like I finally recovered from that time I was homeless and just like was sleeping outside in winter. So maybe my voice has finally recovered from the hardness of life.
Huzzah!
And like, oh, sweet, I'm just like singing well again. But yeah, getting compared to Bruce Dickinson, I remember when I was a kid taking vocal lessons, and my goal was to one day be on a Bruce Dickinson level and not just be an Alice Cooper who's a good frontman and can't really sing. And I still don't think I'm on a Bruce Dickinson level, but to the person who thought I was, thank you for that comparison. You're wrong, but thanks.
We'll get you up to Mike Patton levels one of these days.
But like, people complimenting me on like my range and tonality, I'm just like, me? All right. I mean, gee, thanks. But yeah, the Dave Lee Rothisms, I definitely see a bit more. I also had my most embarrassing moment ever on stage in my entire music career.
Learn to count, Greg.
Yeah, I forgot how to count. Fight to the end is 4 words, not 3 words.
What do you think,
Greg?
What do you think you are? Some kind of drummer?
I was very disappointed in myself. We kicked so much butt on stage. We were doing well, and then I just. I turned into the hair metal bro I always feared I would become. Now I can't count. I'm into MMA. I'm all about disrespecting women.
No.
I've just become a total hair metal bro now. But yeah, I was very happy with the set overall. And I assume you seem pretty all right with it.
Yeah, I think it went really well. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then after that was 8 Ball set, which I stuck around for most of, but then I just started feeling like death, and like, why do I feel like I'm dying? And then I remembered I didn't eat anything all day.
Whoops.
And for those who saw our set, doing that set without any food in your system is just a bad idea. So as my blood sugar was plummeting, I went over to the restaurant, which I just ended up going to a bunch of times at Rock N Pod. The host was very nice, listened to some of her music on YouTube, got a burger, went back, enjoyed my burger, and then the residency played. great as always. Indefinite highlight was Michael Sweet singing Soldiers Under Command. That was pretty cool. Yeah, so did you have any particular highlights from the other band sets?
Not particularly. I was back by the merch stand for the other band set, so I didn't get a great chance to see much of what they were doing. But in general, it sounded pretty fun and looked like they were putting in some pretty good performances. 8-Ball had a really cool look from what I could see of them, catching glimpses of them through the crowd with the handkerchief hanging off the mic stand and all that other cool Aerosmith-esque stuff. Oh yeah, I mean it was great performances all around. I was I was very happy with how the pre-party went, and probably, really couldn't have gone much better for us, if I'm being completely honest. I think we put on a good set. The other bands were great, so yeah, it was a fun time. And then day 2, I've got the programs with us, so we don't forget to mention people. Ooh, there's a schedule too. Yeah, so shout out to all the great podcasts, because I have the booklet here. Decibel Geek, Rock and Metal Combat, Podcast, Rock and or Roll, The Electric Crush, Tramps Like Us, Totally Driven Entertainment, The Plug with Bushy and the Mountain Man, Podcast Rock City. I'm just making sure I mention all of them so I don't forget. Rachel's Rock Refuge, Classic Rock Drops, Fangirl with a Paycheck, Digital Kill with the Radio Scar, Talk to Me, Zilts, Ages of Rock, Grown Up Rock, Cheap Talk, Trick. Cheap Talk Trick Chat. Yeah, that was probably done on purpose, of fuckers. Absolutely. The Kiss Room, Pop. You know what? 3 of these are just Ken Mills podcasts. I'm calling you out. You didn't need listings for all of them, Ken. Cobras and Fire, Kiss FAQ, Bombcast of WFMC Jams, Power Than Hell. I'm in love with that song. Yeah, okay, so all the podcasters who are in the book, you got a shout out. Also, the movie podcast guy who I talked to, I subscribed to your podcast. I don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. But, yeah, you're cool, too. So there you go. All the podcasters got mentioned. So now that we can just, naturally talk about how the day went and not feel bad if we forgot to name check anyone. Right. So I think I got there before you did. Yeah, I showed up about an hour late because I'm lazy. No, you're the bassist. Yep. So, this was much different than last year because it was much more chill. It was a much more go with the flow day because we didn't have to network as hard because we knew everybody. Yeah. So it's more just like, hello, friends. I know you already. I'm going to sit and talk with you for 20 minutes because you are my friend and I'm enjoying your company, as opposed to, hello, stranger. Please check out my band and podcast. Right. It's like, hello, I've had you on 5 of my episodes. Nice to see you again, Julian. So, it was so laid back, where I think in many ways that made it less interesting in terms of last year we had to really hustle and make a good impression. Right. And now it's just like, hey, we're all just hanging out, having a good time. I talked to you a week ago, and we're scheduled to talk to you again in 2 weeks. Right. So, I got to re-meet Michael Sweet, which was cool. Had a nice little chat. We talked about Billy Morris because Billy Morris opened up for Stryper a few months back. And so, Billy with his, connection to Lipstick generation and all that stuff. It was very cool because getting to open up for the same guy that my blood brother got to open up for was very cool. And so it's nice to share that bond experience. And then I had a nice chat with Billy about it later. So nice. So that was cool. Josh Toomey from Talk to Me. That makes sense. So he grabbed me over and forced me to talk to Dave Ellefson, which I talked to him briefly the first night. But, there's a thing going on where I commented how I'm not that into Pantera. And so the internet blew up at me like, what? He doesn't like Pantera. He's a poser sellout. Greg, you need to respect Walk. What did you? And so I commented that Miley Cyrus has a better catalog of songs than Pantera. I can name more Miley Cyrus songs that I would prefer to listen to than Pantera songs. Yes, that's why I said she has a better catalog. Wrecking Ball. Okay, done. Yeah, Wrecking Ball better than every Pantera song. Party in the USA 10 times better than Wrecking Ball. Therefore, much better than every Pantera song. I prefer Party in the CIA, but that's also because I'm a giant nerd. Right.
So, but he brought me over to Dave Ellefson, and Dave Ellefson gave me this big, long story, because, like, hey, I want you to tell this guy about how the guys in Pantera were almost in Megadeth. And he gave me this big, long story, and I'm just like, yeah, Josh just brought me here because he just wanted to bust my balls because he knows I'm not that into Pantera. And so Dave just laughed. I'm just like, I admire the ballsiness of him just, like, forcing me into a conversation with the Megadeth bassist just to, like, call my music opinion shitty. Like, I appreciate the ballsiness to do that.
I mean, I can name several Megadeth songs that I like too.
So, but okay, do you like Megadeth more than Pantera?
Absolutely.
Oh, all right, nice. Good, you're not that racist then. Good job.
Wait, is that a thing? Is not liking Megadeth make you racist?
No, but I mean, look, Pantera, like, Anselmo has said some really...
Oh, okay, yeah. Just liking anybody better than Phil Anselmo.
Right. But...
We missed name dropping Ludini.
Oh, Ludini.
That was somebody that we talked to in person that I'm noticing is not in the book.
You know, we're doing our best to make sure we name drop everybody so no one feels left out.
What was do you have any idea what like determined whether or not a podcast was listed in the program guide?
I think like paying an extra amount and like getting a secured. If you got your secured podcasting booth, you'd be guaranteed to get an interview. So you'd be guaranteed to get to talk to Dave Ellefson or Michael Sweet and get them on your podcast. We opted not to do that because, like, it didn't seem beneficial for us this year.
I mean, you're listening to our podcast right now. You can tell how good our engineering is. Imagine that in a noisy room. In a, much more rushed context.
But, like, for us, like, the entire point of our show, for the most part, is, like, bringing on other people and, like, establishing friendships and connections. So it wouldn't make as much sense for us to, like, okay, we're going to be stuck in one place and wait for people to come to us. Like, it
makes more sense for us to just go to everyone else's booth and be a guest on their episode.
Right, and we were guests on a couple different podcasts. We were there. So, Tramps Like Us, I think I was a guest. I don't know if you were there.
I missed that one, yeah.
Yeah, so I was hanging out with my buddy Lee from the Great White North. All my Canadian friends are great. You might
have noticed that you didn't see us in the same room at the same time. It's because there's only one of us.
That's, it's probably the case. I've only got one Canadian friend. But we're also on I Love It Loudcast. So, it was cool. Guesting on a couple shows. But it was so chill. So relaxed, and I'm just not used to that like level of relaxation from a convention event. Like, it was very smooth sailing for us. The Megadeth set later in the night was pretty cool. I'm trying to think there was the couple that was having sex in the bathroom. That was fun. I think you missed that.
I did miss that.
Yeah, that was
Were they at least doing it in the unisex bathroom?
It was the men's room.
Oh, gross. That's not classy, dude. Like, if you're taking, I assume it was a straight couple?
A straight couple.
Yeah, dude, if you're going to take your girl into a bathroom, take her into the unisex bathroom. Don't drag her into a gross men's room. She doesn't want to be in there.
Well, no, it was so tremendous because I was walking by, and then Kimchi Chris walks by and be like, dude, there was this couple just fucking in the bathroom. And like, there's like this older couple, they stumble out. And then as they leave, like eventually, like a minute later, hotel security and like a janitor walk by. And the janitor goes in, and then he walks out immediately with like a look on his face, and it just like I start laughing, like Chris and I just start cracking up, and we couldn't help it, and we're just like, we're sorry.
Sorry, janitor dude.
He's like, it's okay, it is funny. Like he's like, this sucks, but it's funny.
I mean, I guess that's part of his job, especially working at a hotel. You probably clean up after a surprising amount of gross sex,
right? But I mean, Probably, it was I think extra fun in the men's bathroom after the chaos of a Megadeth set, which actually I missed most of that because I was having dinner with a bunch of podcasting friends. And by having dinner, I mean having water because I'm a fatty and watching my figure. Because I already ate at the restaurant twice this convention. I'm just gonna get water.
I already ate 2 meals this weekend.
Yeah, look, I'm a glam musician.
That's true.
You gotta stay thin. But, hung out with Christine Wolf, Ken Mills, and Brad Page, and Julian, and Michael Sweet came by to say hi to us afterwards, which was cool.
Nice.
So he appreciated that I was very polite to him and offered to get him a coffee when he was tired.
Oh, nice.
So, just all of us sticking together, being friends with each other.
Everybody buying each other coffees.
Right. Well, I wasn't going to buy him a coffee. I was going to try to find the free coffee in the hotel.
Did you ever figure out where the free coffee was?
I never found it. But that was, early enough in the day. Where, by the way, thank you for the coffee. I appreciate that.
I mean, whatever. We got more of it brewing right now.
Right. Yeah, man, this is way more disorganized than the last Rock N Pod recap, but it's way more chill. Like, it's way more disorganized despite, like, us actually having to do way more stuff, like, perform.
I think for last Rock N Pod, we much more followed the loop. The last Rock N Pod was laid out in a path that you could follow to see all the podcasters, much more straightforward. This one was tight rows of tables, so there was no distinct path. Also, the fact that we knew half the people there meant that we'd be like walking past a table like, we're going to come back and talk to you later, but first we got to go talk to our friend over there.
Right, and it also would be like, oh, our friend here is busy, but our friend here isn't busy, so it was much more sporadic all over the place. Oh, you missed the Podcasters Jam. So got to perform with my buddy Lee McCormick, which, wait, that was just you. Because you weren't there. All my Canadian friends are the same person. You, Lee, Bunny Rockets, all just one person.
Absolutely. I was definitely on stage jamming with you, not at Drunk Shakespeare Presents Hot Mess Prom.
Yeah.
Which was attended by entirely the cast of Drunk Shakespeare.
But yeah, I got to sing Take You Back, the Frank Stallone classic. With Lee McCormick, and then later I did backing vocals for Rockin' in the Free World with Julian on, I think Julian was guitar, Lee was guitar, Bill Elam I think was bass, and I think Alan Tate was on drums. So all people we've had on the show, except for Bill, which we should actually have Bill on our show since he listens weekly and is a really nice guy.
Bill, be on our show.
And actually likes Jim Steinman, so I really dropped the ball by not. He bought Bad for Good at last year's Rock N Pod. And why did I not invite him on for the Bad for Good episode? So Bill, I dropped the ball. Sorry.
Listen for part 8 of Bad for Good coming up next week.
Oh, so speaking of that, getting recognized for podcasting is fucking weird.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to being recognized as, that's Greg from Lipstick. And, I'm used to that. I've had people shout, Lipstick at me on the street, or yell snake vomit at me.
Yeah, we get snake vomit a lot more these days, because that band plays more often.
Yeah, I hate that.
I kind of like it.
Right, but, to have people, come up to me and say, hey, I listen to your podcast every week. Who the fuck are you? It's so weird. Because, we put in all this effort into being a band, and we put so little effort into being a podcast.
We put so little effort into this.
But that's, we have fans, and I guess I appreciate it. It makes me want to, put on a better show. So I'm not doing it today.
Right.
So sorry about that. But it's and also the number of people who said, I listened to your entire Bad for Good series.
Wow.
I had a number of people said, yeah, so your Bad for Good series was amazing. And I'm just at Rock N Pod, the number of people who said, I listened to your Bad for Good series is just, I'm confused.
It was a good album?
Yeah, look, it was a good album, but I really thought, this is going to alienate our fan base and people are just going to skip listening for 7 weeks. And then oh, sweet, it's back to Kiss stuff, I'll listen again. And they were loyal listeners and enjoyed it. So I'm confused. I don't know why you like us, but thanks.
We appreciate your confusing and alienating loyalty.
Right. Yeah, so I guess we'll just have to do our best to keep making the best podcast we can. This is so fucking weird.
You know that Pandora's Box episode that you've been refusing to do?
And I haven't even been refusing. It's more just people have been requesting I do it, and I'm just you didn't even like that album. I like it and think it's great, and I thought you and Josh were full of shit when you were shitting on the way to Mad Max. Look, I'll just tell you this right now. Hot Tate Troyan, Pandora's Box, better than Mad Max Fury Road.
Ooh.
Because Mad Max Fury Road, ultimately the character arcs weren't very good. Basically all the characters had static arcs.
Well, okay, so Mad Max is sort of fundamentally designed not to change as a character.
Furiosa is just I guess her arc is just hey, I killed this dude, which, all right, that's an arc, I guess.
All of her character development happens pretty early in the movie.
Yeah, it's just
and then there's, what's his name, Nuke or whatever, the war boy, he has an actual character arc. Right,
but he's just not an interesting character.
I think he's a good character because he reflects the zeitgeist of our time very well, in that he is he is a little boy who's been raised in a toxically masculine culture, and it's really warped him as a person. And it's the story of him escaping from that
I don't
essentially,
know. Like,
and then dying. Because, yeah.
Aside from Doof Warrior, there was no reason for me to watch that movie.
And Doof Warrior didn't need any character development. He was perfect as he was.
Doof Warrior was awesome. But I think the problem with Mad Max Fury Road is just, it was a bunch of action scenes I didn't care about. I had no investment in the characters. And the set pieces weren't enough of a spectacle for me to go, wow, that's cool. And so, I'm putting it side by side with, Cobra, for instance, where Cobra does not have good character development, but it's just it's so goofy and fun where I'm having a great time. So I think that's just with Mad Max, it wasn't goofy and fun, just this is just kind of dour.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not.
If something's dour, I need there to be a really interesting thematic concept, other than just man, isn't the desert kind of shitty? Maybe that's why I'm not into Star Wars. I'm not in. Yeah. I don't like sand. It's coarse and it's rough and it gets everywhere.
I see what you did there. It occurs to me that the Mad Max series is essentially a cyberpunk series, and that's weird because I love Mad Max and I hate cyberpunk. I don't hate cyberpunk. I'm just always disappointed 100% of the time by cyberpunk. I want to like it, but it's disappointing. The difference, I think, is that Mad Max has a story that goes somewhere. Even if it's not the most original or creative story, there is a story. There's again, this is the world building thing, right? I love world building.
Right.
You don't care.
Right. I think good world building can be really great if there's great characters. So Martin's, for Game of Thrones and Song of Ice and Fire, the world building is very good, and it's interesting because the characters seem believable within that world. So,
wait, you're saying Furiosa doesn't seem believable?
Furiosa,
believably awesome.
I just don't care. And people just say oh, Greg doesn't like strong female characters. No, it's not that. I just want interesting female characters. Rey in Force Awakens is not a good character. Rey in The Last Jedi is a great character because there's depth and nuance and emotion and an arc. So it's not that I say, Greg just hates female characters. No, I don't. Just write better characters.
We still haven't gotten the announcement of the Cool Runnings remake.
Nah.
This disappoints me every day.
So yeah, do we have any other comments on Rock N Pod? Did you get to meet any of your big rock star guests you wanted to meet?
I wasn't really looking to meet any big rock star guests. Just because I don't know. That's not really my style. I'm not the fanboy kind of person. You're the one who does networking. I'm the person who can't recognize people's names or faces.
So the thing, I think I mentioned to someone the other day is that I am burnt out on the meeting of people and it not meaning anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not into meet and greets with musicians because most of the time they don't care.
Right.
And
they just want your $60.
Yeah, they just want your $60 or whatever, or if Gene Simmons wants your $2,000 or whatever. For me, I'm all about sincere experiences. So when I talked with Michael Sweet, he asked if I wanted to pitch, and I'm nah, dude, I'm good. I just wanted to shake your hand and just chat about the show and just say it was an honor opening for you. And he I felt a sigh of relief on his face, and just he just then felt very comfortable. We just chatted, and that's why he would say hi to me in the hallway afterwards.
Nice.
And so for me, it's more about making a genuine connection with a person and not fanboying because, there's only so many times you can say, oh, I love that record. Your one famous record, I love that famous record. And you're not going to give them an interesting new take on it necessarily. And also I've met most of my musical heroes that I want to meet. So now it's just a matter of how do I turn this into actually a career? Oh, sweet, I can meet this person. All right, but does that actually relate to me getting more album sales? Does that relate to me getting a tour? And does that relate to me, this person remembering me and saying hi and, inviting me to hang out and actually being a friend? Me meeting, Alice Cooper in a meet and greet wouldn't mean anything versus if I, met Alice and became Alice's friend and then would, hang out or do some kind of collaboration. That doesn't mean anything. So a meet and greet doesn't mean anything to me. It would have to be, either I become this person's friend or it develops my career in some way, because otherwise, what am I getting out of it? Not really anything. What are they getting out of it? I don't know, my $60, I guess. So
Yeah.
Which, and, I understand, like, they need to make their living. And, like,
Right.
I got a Michael Sweet CD, but not just because I wanted to smooze with him, because, like, oh, shoot, I needed to pick that CD up anyway, and Yahweh is a bitchin' tune. So I'm like, yeah, I'll get that.
As somebody who makes his living on the back end of these kinds of things, absolutely buy meet and greets, especially from Sawyer Brown and Aaron Tippin.
Right. Look, for me, and the thing is, for this kind of event, it's, if you want to do a meet and greet, it's very, like, reasonably priced. And everyone said, Michael Sweet was very nice to everybody, gave everybody, plenty of time to chat with him, photos, autographs. Like, if that's your thing, this is a great event. It's just, for me, that's, I think I'm sort of, like, past that stage just because, like, I've done so much of it. Mm-hmm. And, like, I've seen how the sauce is made, and I'm so, like, in the middle of the grind. And Lipstick generation is in this place where, like, we're just big enough where, everyone in the band expects to be paid, but we're not big enough where we get paid every show. And, like, we're in this awkward middle ground where, like, we've met with the record labels, we've won battles of the bands, we've done, these bigger shows, but we don't have, like, enough, like, notoriety to turn that into, like, a more momentum to make more consistent income. And so it's a really weird middle ground to be in, and I think that's probably why, like, the meet and greet thing, like, doesn't mean as much to me, because I'm like, I've done this a bunch of times. How do I get more gigs where everyone in the band gets $1,000? How do I make that happen? So, but yeah, hey, I had a lot of fun, and I would say, like, the rock musicians I met, like, we had, like, sincere connections, and I think that's why it was a great event. It wasn't just like the herd you like cattle to get the photo. Like, the fact that, Dave Ellefson told me this long story about him, potentially bringing in the guys from Pantera just so Josh could, say I'm full of shit in front of Dave Ellefson. Like, that's the magic of Rock N Pod.
Magic of rock.
The magic of Rock N Pod, where, like, you can meet, like, a musician you respect and your friend can bust your chops in front of them. That's what this is about.
I mean, yeah. I feel like that's really what you want out of a meet and greet, is you want somebody talking shit about you. So
right. So that the musician,
so
like,
that you're
I
memorable.
never want to work with this guy. Dave Ellefson be like, man, that guy from Lipsick generation, fuck him. Because he doesn't like
Pantera. How dare he?
Look, I like one album. I think one album is a brilliant masterpiece where every song is excellent. And then it's just, like, surrounded by crap, kind of like Nashville, the city. Is in Tennessee. Well, anyway, that's our podcast.
Yeah.
Steve, where
do you want to talk about movies some more?
Yeah. What movie do you want to talk about?
I don't know. We're going to talk about Rambo a bunch. Let's go watch some Rambo.
All right. Well, that's our podcast. Find us at liftedgeneration.com. And, oh, yeah. Housekeeping. If there is someone you want to appear on our show, let us know via social media. If there's an album you want us to discuss, let us know via social media. Like, tell us what you like.
We
know that
with us. We know that you guys like Kiss albums, but we don't have many of those left. So
yeah, but, like,
what else do you guys like?
Yeah, let us know what you like. Give us some feedback. Like, leave us a comment on the YouTube channel. Leave us a review on iTunes. Yeah, just let us know what you want us to do, and we'll do it, because we want to make you happy. Because, we're all about just, like, being accepted by people, because that helps us with the self-acceptance that we have trouble with.
We just really need that validation from strangers on the internet, you guys.
All right, bye.
That's strangers on the internet. That's the important part. That's why it's weird when you talk to us in person and say, I love your show. Like, you're a stranger from the internet. Stranger danger.
All right, that's our show. Bye.
Bye.
That was a rambling, incoherent mess. I loved it.
It was a rambling.